Hi kids, welcome to the Showstoppers, over the top 5, your definitive top 5 source of all things show-stopping. One of the themes of the Showstopper lifestyle by Shawn Valentino is that within every person lies a superhero. So today our first top 5 will be the top 5 superhero films of all time. Number 5, the first film in this list holds a very special place in my heart because it's the story of a Malibu playboy, not unlike the Showstopper himself, a playboy with the heart of a hero. It's Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. And the story of Tony Stark is in many ways like the story of Shawn Valentino. It's a guy who's misunderstood, a guy who's cocky, appears to be arrogant and selfish, but in reality he just really wants to help other people out. And that's why this story really hit home for me. And that's why we're going to start off the first ever definitive top 5 list with Iron Man, one of the great superhero films of all time. The very theme of the Showstopper lifestyle is that within every ordinary guy lies an extraordinary superhero. And in no story is that theme better illustrated than in the story of Peter Parker and SpiderMan. And we're going to go back to the original SpiderMan starring Tobey Maguire. In reality, Peter Parker is just a small town boy with big city dreams. He's similar to Shawn Valentino because he's proof that your big city dreams can come true. It has for me, and it can for you. Within every person, there's a bit of a nerd, but at the same time, even more importantly, within every person, there's a bit of a showstopper. And there's nothing more show-stopping than seeing Spider-Man swing across New York City. And that's why he's the number 4 on our superhero film list. And for number 3, we're going to go with an unconventional choice, but at the same time, it's not just an unconventional choice, it's an unbreakable choice. It's M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable. And this is one of the most fascinating anti-hero tales ever told. Of course, I can relate to that because I'm a bit of an anti-hero myself. What makes Unbreakable so cool is that it really deconstructs the myth of the superhero legend. And I think that's really what life's all about. It's about creating your own legend. It's about creating your own heroic stories because, after all, we're all living our own superhero tale. Our hero in Unbreakable is David Dunn, who, interesting enough, doesn't know he's a hero. And frankly, that's really symbolic of society because most people go through lives without any real adventure to call their own. Not the Showstopper, because I learned from a young age that I have to find my inner superhero. I have to become unbreakable. And watching this movie, it just reminded me of the story of the Showstopper himself. And just as fascinating as David Dunn was Sam Jack as Mr. Glass, because every superhero needs a great supervillain. And I think what's fascinating about the Showstopper is, in many ways, I'm a superhero and a supervillain put into one. And that's what I want to teach all of you. Find your inner Showstopper and become unbreakable. And that's why Unbreakable is the number 3 superhero movie of all time. Since this is the first ever definitive top 5 superhero film list of all time, we're going to give ourselves a little leeway. And number 2 on our list is Christopher Nolan's epic Dark Knight Trilogy. And the story of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, the billionaire playboy becoming the Dark Knight. And I think what's really cool about the Dark Knight tale is Batman is a superhero with no real superpowers. He can't fly, doesn't have spider senses, but he discovers his inner powers that lie inside, and in many ways he's like the Showstopper. He channels all of his strength, both mental and physical, to discover the superhero that lies inside of him. So in many ways, Batman is like the Showstopper. And what I want to encourage all of you to do is to find your inner strength, maximize life experiences, and discover the dark night that lies within you. Moving on to number 1 in the first ever top 5 list of the greatest superhero movies of all time. This might be the toughest decision of my life. What can be number 1? Number 1 on our list of the greatest superhero movies of all time is SuperMan, the movie, starring Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeve gives the absolute definitive superhero performance ever shown on film. So, from the Showstopper to Superman himself, I wanted to say thank you to one of my childhood heroes, Christopher Reeve, for teaching me to spend life minimizing worries and maximizing life experiences, and that is why Superman the movie is the number 1 superhero film of all time. Thank you, kids, for watching the first ever definitive over the top 5 list of the greatest superhero films ever created. I'm your host, the Showstopper, Shawn Valentino. Be sure to tune in next week, because like I said earlier, every superhero needs a supervillain. And next week we're gonna run down the definitive top 5 list of the greatest supervillains of all time. Thank you, fellow Showstoppers at home, and be sure to click that like button and subscribe for all the show-stopping content. I'm Shawn Valentino, the Showstopper. Out. One of the greatest films of all time.